Before I begin my remarks, I would like to know who I'm speaking to. How many of you are not current teachers?
Oh.
Thank you to you for coming and for caring about our children in Nova Scotia. You are the people I want to speak to this evening. I am extremely honored to speak on behalf of my colleagues here in the Cape Breton Victoria Regional School Board. I'm going to ask my colleagues right now to I just hope that I do you justice this evening. I timed this with my boys this evening. I took 11 minutes and 34 seconds. I'm going to try to go a little faster. Bear with me. All of a sudden, after 25 years teaching, I'm not afraid to say what I have to say. Many of Nova Scotia's workers, many of you, not just teachers, are expected to do more with less. There are cutbacks in many sectors of our workplace. Teachers are well aware that they are not the only people in this province who are working as hard as they can with fewer supports and fewer resources. There are, though, a number of things that make the job of teaching different from many jobs. There is one major difference. Your child's future is directly in our hands. And right now, every single day, and this is hard for me to say after being a teacher for 25 years, we go home feeling like we failed. We feel responsible for preparing your children to have success, and every single day, because we don't have enough support to take care of their extraordinary variety of needs. Every single day of the week, we feel like when that bell rings, we have failed. We are failing your kids because, with a flawed system, teachers are being set up to fail. The acceptance of 22 recommendations of the Glaze Report does not address the problems teachers have meeting your child's needs. What am I talking about? Everybody wants to know, what do you mean, teachers? What do you need? What do you want? How is our system broken? How is it dysfunctional? Schools do not look like what they looked like 10, 15, or 20 years ago. A grade 12 graduate in 2018, and I have one right here, and I don't mean to insult you, and I love you, and I think you're wonderful, is not coming out, a graduate in 2018 is not coming out of the public school system with even remotely the same skills as students of the past. Employers in Nova Scotia. Ask universities in Nova Scotia. Ask community colleges in Nova Scotia. Our students are not ready for the world, and that's what we became teachers for. We want them ready, and we can't get them there. Our system is not able to meet any of your child's needs properly. We spend all kinds of time with struggling students, and they deserve and need our help. But we have little to no support, unable to get them to where they need to be, while the brightest students in Nova Scotia fail to reach their true potential. How can this be possibly good for Nova Scotia? How can this possibly be good for your children? Don't even ask me about the children who fall in between, those with special needs, those in between, those who struggle, between those who are gifted, the ones in between these extremes who we may call average children. Because first of all, there really is no such thing as your normal or average child. They are barely on the radar because they can't be on the radar. There is not enough to go around from one teacher in an overcrowded classroom filled with so many levels and types of needs. Nobody wins in these current conditions. Nobody. And the Glaze report, I'm sorry to say, has not addressed these conditions. The biggest losers under current conditions are your children. The Glaze report does nothing tangible to help your child. In actuality, the haste with which these recommendations were accepted and the vagueness within, the unknown direction, the lack of clarity in how these recommendations will be implemented and what they mean for our current educational governance, for our current professional learning communities, the lack of detail in how the recommendations will impact what happens in our schools, the haste with which these 11 recommendations are being adopted, all are creating chaos and more harm to all of your children than good.
You're right.
Before a swift decision is made, deciding that this government needs a new system for evaluating teachers, how about focusing on building a system before you start to make changes? How about focusing on building a system that can allow for some student and some teacher success? The Glaze report is attempting to tell us who amongst us is doing a good job. We can tell you that for free. We don't need $75,000 to tell you that. We are excellent professionals, but we are failing every day because the system is dysfunctional, it's broken, and it's setting us up to do that, to fail. There is not time to list all the things that we are doing instead of teaching. This week I asked some of my colleagues to tell me what their biggest concern is that is getting in the way of their student success. We don't have that much time. One common theme is the size of the classes and the vast array of needs within. And couple that with the lack of resources and supports to address those needs. From the start of the day to the end of the day, teachers are putting out fires. Teachers need help with speech, reading with small groups while the others are doing what? Extreme behaviors. Students, and I'm not exaggerating, kicking, students throwing furniture, students throwing books, students throwing school supplies, student outbursts, students breaking windows, violence against staff, and against fellow students, your children. Teachers need help implementing individualized program plans, IPPs, while teaching other programs simultaneously. With adaptations, with guidance services. I have a Bachelor of Science degree in Physical Education and a Master's degree in Educational Administration. I don't know what to do with grief, with gender issues, with ADHD, with kids living in group homes, with kids who are couch surfing, with kids whose parents are mentally ill, with kids who are mentally ill, with kids who are hungry, with pregnant teen students, with students with eating disorders, with runaways, with kids whose parents are splitting up, kids who experience anxiety, depression, and many other forms of crisis. I came here to teach. Who are we trying to meet these needs? We are all teachers, but actually, I'm going to be honest with you, we do not spend the majority of our time teaching. delays makes me feel like, as a teacher, I'm underperforming and not achieving my potential. Go on. And she implies that it's mostly all about teachers. How we are disciplined, how we are governed, and how we are unionized in our current collegial relationships with our educational leaders. My principal and vice principal, my former principal and vice principals, who have been mentors and who have taught me so much in my 25 years. She addresses and says little about the expectations and the unreasonable conditions under which we human teachers teach. If I had a class of 30 homogeneous, trouble-free children in perfect health with perfect confidence, our jobs as teachers would indeed be exactly what most people think they are. They think it's kind of easy. But that is not our world. That is not our reality. What I am saying here is teachers are not equipped or trained to deal with all these issues. We are trained to teach. We joined this profession to teach. We felt noble doing that. We felt like we were helping society doing that. And that priority just seems to have become a very low one, that priority of teaching on the list of our daily tasks. We are teachers. We need to focus on that. Our system is not currently built with the teaching of students, your children, as its central focus. Where has curriculum, the subjects, the things, the stuff we teach been considered as top priority? It does not take a lot of money or an expert to see that with all the other tasks, roles, and things teachers have to take into account, address, and deal with, there is little time to teach. There is no time in the school day for planning good, interesting, thorough lessons. I had mentors when I was a new teacher. We became friends. We became family. I lost one, and I always think of her. I learned so much from these experienced educators. I cannot tell you how much I learned from my mentors and my colleagues, my fellow teachers. I learn from you every day. I steal your best stuff. I want to give to our student teachers the way those mentors gave to me. True story. I passed one in the hallway this morning. She asked me for advice. We were passing on the stairwell as the children were entering the school. I never saw her again for the rest of the day. I don't have prep time. I don't have time to talk to my colleagues. I don't have time to make friends anymore. Those lessons, that professional development that we get at our schools, that we could get at our schools, is precious. And it's lost to our future teachers, and that broke my heart when I couldn't help her today. We are missing out on so much rich learning from each other. Free, delightful, valuable professional development that happened at staff room tables. It happened in hallways when we had time. It happened in each other's classrooms. And it boosted our morale. And it made us feel like we were all in this together. Now, we never see each other. Teachers never see each other. We feel alone. Morale is in, morale is in the crapper. Speaking of, If I ever have a free moment at school, you know what I'm doing. I know what I'm doing. Something there is never, ever time for when I need it. Simon, I go pee. There is no time in the school day for phone calls home and meetings with parents. There is no time in the school day for correcting and giving feedback in person, in Google Classrooms or on paper. There is no time built in to take care of attendance and data on PowerSchool, which has to happen a couple of times a day, or for entering data and documenting immense amounts of information on a database called Tynet. What is the answer? Of course, there is not a simple one. But I think I'm painting a picture. It begins with you, those of you who are not blessed to be with children in schools every day. It begins with you really discovering what is actually happening during your child's day. What their day looks like in terms of how often they are being left to their own devices, about what your kids are seeing and hearing, about what is happening in front of them, for them, and around them. What are the distractions? What are the challenges? What is eating up most time in the run of a day? If it were not for the fact that I personally have taught at all three levels, high school, middle, and elementary, I'd have no idea what really goes on in the classrooms of teachers of other levels. Each generation has no idea what it is like in the generation of the next. But everybody thinks they do. Ms. Glaze was paid $1,000 per page for her 76-page report. Think about that. Listen to this. Having worked on this report from October 17th to December 31st. 6 weeks.
You can't do a university paper that quickly.
Now that's a good one. 6 weeks to come up with a quick fix to 20 years of steady decline in the education system. 6 weeks. Remarkable. Miss Glaze is but one consultant from a region far, far away. Ms. Glaze is not a Nova Scotian teacher of today. Was anyone in this room, I'm just curious, asked to speak with Ms. Glaze?
No.
Show of hands. Did anybody consult with Ms. Glaze on her report? There is indeed no trust amongst teachers about the decisions made regarding education. The Education Act should not supersede all or parts of a negotiated contract. This is unethical, it's unfair, and it's illegal. The government has not addressed the classroom conditions or the issue of inclusion in any tangible way, not just throwing money at it, in a tangible way. Neither through the two committees that together cost $20 million, nor through the 76-page report from Ms. Glaze. Nothing has improved in our classroom since the chaos and turmoil and heartbreak of last year. And if the government continues on this course of change for the sake of change, your children will continue to be hurt. This fight is not about teachers. This fight is actually, once again, and I know you'll agree with me, teachers, making us miserable. We are not looking out for ourselves. This fight is about looking after Nova Scotia's kids. This fight is about looking out for and taking the best care of your children for the future. This fight is about allowing each and every one of your children, our children, my children, to meet their potential. Their future depends on it. Your child's future is what teachers in Nova Scotia care about. That is our message. It is as simple as that. Thank you.